we're back. This is Thor the Red channel, and a little frustrated right now. Just did an entire video of ZPACKS and just a kind of analysis of their gear and what is so good about them and why a lot of people like going with their stuff. Again, kind of not so much criticism, but just kind of making light or pointing out their price points and kind of why that I don't generally go with their products because it's just a little too expensive for me. A lot of people love their rain jackets, but at a $300 price point for a men's rain jacket, even though it's 6.5 ounces, it's expensive. And that's a little steep for me. Same thing with a woman's rain jacket. It's $300 as well. Yeah, you get a robe, which is kind of cool. Their products are, they speak for themselves for the most point. You see everybody wearing them and people wear it because it works. But not everybody's got the ZPACKS money. And, that's part of what I'm going to do on this channel is I'm going to try to, give you all other options out there. And just kind of look at what people, different companies are doing. Let's go to their shelters. And, like I said, the creme de la creme, or the main tent that you see a lot of hikers hiking with, is the duplex. Two-person. It says it sleeps two, but really a lot of people just use it as a one-person tent. And the problem I see with the tent, the only problem I see with the tent, is a $700 price point. That's steep. And even if you are a thru hiker, even if you're going to be spending 5-6 months on trail, is $700 something you want to be spending your money on? Where you could spend $400 and find something not necessarily as light as 19 ounces, but you could go 5 or 6 ounces heavier and save $200 probably. When you're through hiking or you're going to be spending some significant time on trail, you're probably going to either be unemployed or you're going to be, have limited funds coming in. So you probably don't necessarily want to have a $700 tent. However, if you were making sacrifices elsewhere, maybe a $700 tent would be sufficient. Or say this year you buy your $700 duplex, next year you buy your $400 backpack or $300 or however much you want to spend on it, and then go approach it like that. But they got a triplex. They got a 3-person tent, which I would use that as a 2-person if I had ZPACKS money. You hear about the Hexmid some. You hear, you get the Altiplex. What was the other one? Okay, the Plexmid. I was watching somewhere, maybe another channel. I forget who it was. It was Darwin. Was it Dixie? I don't know. But some people have reviewed the Plexmid. Some people have owned it. Some people have liked it. But there again, $575. It's just shy of 4 ounces lighter than the duplex. $425 more, you get the duplex and you get more room. I don't know. I think I'd spend $125 if, of course, I had ZPACKS money. And let's look at backpacks because that's always something to look at. And of course, I did a full deal with this whole website earlier. But you look at the Arc Air. You got their Dyneema composite. You got the Robic. If I'm not mistaken, the Robic is almost as good as the Dyneema. maybe a little more durable, not quite as light, but it's a good product. Because your Dyneema, of course, is going to be $25 more than the Robic backpack, or $26 if you want to get technical. But you get the Art Blast. This is kind of like the go-to. A lot of people are using the Art Blast. Surprisingly, I didn't see as many on the JMT, so I was kind of expecting. There's a gazillion different options out there. I mean, there really is. Especially if you were talking ultralight backpacks. Saw a lot of ULAs. Did see some Art Blast. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of your go-to backpack. You got your Ospreys floating around. There's a good distribution of different backpacks on your thru hikes right now. I mean, there's so many different options out there. So, that's pretty much my review of ZPACKS. Okay, well, I'll look at the quilts real quick. Let's look at the quilts. So I got a UGQ. You got your lighting equipments. But here's the price point here. $340 for a quilt. A lot of your quilt manufacturers will kind of custom these bad boys. And, the 340 will start out around $250. And you'll build up and you'll end up spending $300 on your quilt. Well, this right here comes out at $340 right out of the chute. Not only that, which kind of my criticism is, these are my colors. I can scroll down, of course I can't. I got my big head in the way of this. But you can see in your classic sleeping bag, you only got 4 colors to choose from. So, since we're here, and since we're discussing this, I did my first thru hike on the JMT with a quilt, and I've always used sleeping bags my entire life, or since I've been hiking. And I went with the quilt, and I don't have a complaint in the world about it. In fact, I don't know why everybody's not using quilts at this point. I mean, maybe you go get sub-zero temperatures, you maybe want a sleeping bag. But the quilt, in all practical purposes, does everything a sleeping bag can do, just a little lighter. And to me, it was a lot more comfortable. Had a lot more freedom inside the quilt as opposed to the sleeping bag. So, everybody sleeps a little different, but to me, my Nemo tensor and quilt, you're not really gonna, have any complaints with that. Let's look at the accessories while we're here. Of course, while we're here, right? You get your Nemo ears, you get your trekking poles. It's not really a bad price for poles right there, $60. Let's see. I have to say, I had the hoodie, like this here, on the JMT. And you see a lot of people who are using the umbrellas. And if you're going to be out west, high sky, umbrella's not a bad idea. And you see people who had them not complaining at all about them. So it tells you a little bit. Yeah, it's a few ounces, it's 7 ounces, but keep the sun off of you, totally worth it. Okay, so you got your water bottle holster here. The good thing about your backpacks in most applications, you don't have to have the ZPACKS water bottle with the ZPACKS backpack. You can buy a ZPACKS backpack and 6 months from now you can go and order different manufacturers water bottle holder, and it will probably work out for your setup. That's one good thing about most of these backpacks is, these water bottle sleeves tend to be universal, so they can be used for different manufacturers. So that's a cool thing. I want to see what else they got here. Dry bags. Can't go wrong with dry bags. I put my clothes sometimes in these. Sometimes I put sleeping bag, quilt, compress it down. The tighter your setup is, the smaller your pack, the more important these stuff sacks and cubes. I never used a cube. I don't know anybody who's used a cube, but it seems like to me you can make them work. Probably be better for organizational purposes than the dry bags. You got to make sure your setup's right for that. It's kind of pricey there for a stove. $65. You can do a little cheaper. Does the same thing. Different manufacturer probably. So, well, that concludes this episode. I got a Nemo light sleeping bag. A lot of people are using these too. Excuse me. So, anyway, we'll conclude this episode and we'll pick back up later. Anyway, you guys have a good day.